Con ustedes, Mike Hindman, VP of Product en Ivanti, y Abhinav Tiwari, Director of Product en Ivanti.
Hola, saludos a nuestros amigos mexicanos. Estamos muy contentos de participar en el IT Solutions Day 2022 de nuestra distribuidora MAPS. Mi nombre es Miguel Hindman y soy el vicepresidente de productos para soluciones basadas en riesgos. Hoy me acompaña Abhinav Tiwari, quien es mi director de producto. El resto de la grabación será en inglés, ya que mi español no es muy bueno. Abhinav, I'll leave it up to you, bud.
Thanks, Mike. Hey, everyone. So as we all know that security is on top of mind for everyone. You don't need to educate your executives about security anymore. Board is asking you the hard questions. They're asking about, what is your exposure? They're asking about what will happen if you don't comply. There are a lot of things happening around the globe, as you might have heard about the CISO, Uber CISO, who was charged with criminal intent recently because he failed to report to FTC regarding Uber's breach back in 2016. So we have to remember the professional integrity and bring the security to the driving seat. Every year, as you know, that there are new breaches that keep the security industry going. 2017, we wrote WannaCry. 2018, we had Bluekeep. 2019 was NetLogon. 20 was Log4j, and now we have Spring4Shell. So if you see the pattern, it's all exploding and exposing your supply chain challenges. It's all around what devices you're using, what software you're running. On top of everything, this COVID recently changed the whole landscape and made us transform. So all the companies are becoming more like perimeter-less organizations. Certainly, employee experience has become very important and taken the forefront. So we will have to rethink our resilience strategies. Businesses are not trusting anybody anymore, and that's actually a good thing because that's when the zero trust comes into the picture. We don't trust anything and only allow access to need to know basis. That's also transforming how the businesses think and act. So if you look at where this micro phenomenon is coming from, these are the key factors, right? We see a huge gap between what organizations are doing and what employees are expecting. We still operate in silos. Dev, Sec, and Ops, although we sort of join together, they sometimes don't use the same platform and often not on the same page. This causes gaps in security and the performance. So there are tons of vulnerabilities. Every time you add a new code, you are adding vulnerabilities. Every time you add a device, your code, adding new vulnerabilities. So these are adding to a huge pile of vulnerabilities that you have to deal with every day. Visibility is another problem. If you don't see, you can't fix it. So I think IT maturity, that also creates a big issue. We don't really truly measure every aspect of our IT businesses, and that's what adds to your security problems. But most importantly, employee experience is getting very critical. Like I said before, organizations are taking huge steps in making sure that their employees are they're not facing any security issues, or their productivity is high, especially after this everywhere workspace. Let's take with the Ivanti and what we're trying to address all these problems statements. So in order to achieve one cohesive experience for customers, we are bringing together set of niche products. So Ivanti is known for its patch management, and we tend to call it like a last mile company. Think of us as a proactive, preventive, early warning company. Not only we warn you for these breaches, we also fix and take care of the whole issue altogether. So if you look at all these companies that bring Ivanti together, RiskSense, for example, is all about prioritization. Mobile Iron is expanding into the stacks. Sherwell is about ITSM, and Pulse Secure is all about connectivity. So we're trying to bring together all these into one Neuron experiences through this massive convergence. That has been our big project for last couple of years, and we'll continue to do so. So this is a level of hyper-automation that we are trying to target. These different levels show how we can keep building layers of automations to finally achieve the self-healing and self-secure systems. The ground rules, like just Lego blocks, you let the users pick their own blocks and try to make whatever model that you want to build with it. So the more complex the model is, the more higher level of automation you achieve. So the target is always to go to the last level and then make the system sort of self-heal. And that's why we're trying to target not just with one product, but all the whole ecosystem of product that Ivanti offers. So even though this kind of looks like a pretty complicated and complex diagram, it shows how Ivanti Neuron builds from the most basic of the needs. Discovery, for example, is the most important need of the industry. Recently, federal government issued a binding order that every single federal agency will have to use discovery for their assets, all of their assets. And this is going to flow down to the private sector very soon, because if you don't see what you have, you can't secure it. So similarly, each of these basic requirements of managing and securing your assets, the way your services are required to be covered to all these things. So that's how we try to cover all these through Neuron products. So you can see each of these components of Neuron product ecosystem, how we're trying to cover each of these different silos. So we are putting a layer of automation on top of these offerings, trying to converge everything into one big cohesive experience. And that experience can be measured and validated by the Ivanti Neurons digital experience score, or we call it like DEX score. So that's on the top of everything. So we're going to talk about these products in a few minutes. So, so as you can see, we're not just focusing about to our end customers. We consider what industry leaders are going and where we can join them. Let's talk about Qualys VMDR, for example. So the R used to be reporting, but now it's remediation, and that runs on our Ivanti engine. Sentinel-1, when they talk about the proactive security early morning, that's Ivanti. Companies like Lenovo, Intel, Ivanti is in every device that they share. T-Mobile and AT&T, their go-to-market model is Ivanti. All these companies like Checkpoint, TeamViewer, Sentinel-1, these are all going to use Ivanti engine for their last mile and remediation activities. So we at Ivanti are very proud of being an important ecosystem and supporting the mission to prevent and defend against cyber attacks. So, so this is, like I mentioned, the last part of the hyper automation, which is the self-heal, self-secured, self-services. That's our ultimate aim. So that's our big vision, and through all these Ivanti products, that's our goal to reach up to this level. So from cloud to edge. So I think a lot of these products we have our in our next section, where we dig a little bit deeper into all these products and see how they can help you achieve this singular vision of self-healing. So Yeah, so the next section is about our product offerings, and I'll have Mike take you over those solutions. Over to you, Mike.
Excellent. Thank you, Abhinav. Thank you. So I'm going to walk you through the Avanti solutions that we're going to be using to, to help secure the everywhere workplaces, which is something very important to everybody here at MAPS today. So we're going to talk a little bit about UEM and the strategy, right? A single pane of glass to manage all of the device types that you have. We're talking mobile devices, PCs, servers, data centers, IoT, ICS and IoT, as far as your physical devices, your very mobile devices, your air conditioning units, all the way down to wearables, right? Anything that is on your networks or connecting to your networks in proximity through any sort of thing is something that we want to be able to bring in and have you manage with UEM. So why Avanti neurons for UEM, right? Continual and automated discovery. We have both agent-based and passive discovery that we're talking about, right? A breadth of these devices and knowledge of this information coming into a unified UEM system from, again, mobile across the board to endpoint device and servers, right? Securing the application connectivity is a big part of this, right? Securing connectivity and access to them is something that comes out of this. And obviously the security, mobile threat defense, patch, RBVM, these other items tie into and really thrive off of UEM. And then, of course, UEM also it leads to a big part of the experience management Abhinav talked about. That's at the top of the securing everywhere workplace vision of the Avanti products. So on the security side of the house, right, one of the big things that Avanti is focusing on and has focused on since they brought RiskSense on board, since I came on board with Abhinav and RiskSense and Srinivas, our CEO, last year, is the risk-based solutions, right? So vulnerability prioritization. So I'm going to walk you through that a little bit just to make sure that we're all kind of aware of what we mean by vulnerability prioritization and taking that to the risk-based level that I'll talk about in some of these other products. So we're talking about the known set of vulnerabilities, which currently we're tracking a little over 260,000 of these vulnerabilities, right? Today in most products, regardless of patch or vulnerability management or scanners, a lot of them traditionally are relying on CBSS and telling you about the high and critical severity vulnerabilities that you can fix, right? They might give you an out of 10 score. They might be giving you some words. They might even be giving you some CWEs that are associated with them. But what they're not doing is giving you all the information that you need. So when you take the detection of that cross section, right, of everything that is high and critical, according to the NVD as far as vulnerabilities are concerned, and you take the detection, right in the middle part there is typically where people are going to be working. And while it is not the worst for you to be working there, hopefully you're making some strides, it's inefficient. And that's kind of where we want to come in and help with risk-based solutions, right? So we're taking the information in our vulnerability knowledge base, which is one of the products that Avanti has. And we're taking that information and we are using all of the threat intelligence and the real world information to help you get down to a top set of prioritization items. And this is going to be a theme that you'll see in Avanti products and the vision that we'll be rolling out in the future. And I'm going to show you some of that today. And then, of course, after you're done with the top prioritization, you can again then move to the high prioritization, which are the items that you have detected that also were not in the high and critical severity vulnerabilities, but still real world threat information brought them up into that area. So as far as the endpoint solutions that we have for securing the everywhere workplace, we have a few different solutions, right? We have the Ivanti neurons for risk-based vulnerability management, and we have the Ivanti neurons for application security, orchestration, and correlation. So we shorten those as RBVM and ASOC. So these two products are going to be what came on board, two of the three products that came on board with the RiskScience acquisition, and they are going to be giving you the capability to put data in from well over 50 industry scanners, EDRs, SAST, DAST, OSS, container, all of this type of stuff, even ASMs as we're broadening our scope, right? Putting that data in and getting a single unified scoring mechanism for all of your findings and all of your assets. Very, very important. And that risk-based approach that we had at RiskSense that we brought on board to the Ivanti Everywhere Workplace family has now been brought over into some of the patching solutions as our first take. So Ivanti neurons for patch solutions, the two biggest ones that I'd like to talk about today, there are more, are Ivanti neurons for patch management, which is a comprehensive cloud-based management capability for Windows and third-party applications, which brings patching technology into the cloud and into our neurons family. And we are, for those of you who are interested, we are definitely working on Mac and Linux for it as well. So all coming in the coming quarters, and all of that information is there. And there's easy ways for you to be able to migrate at your own pace, of course, from your on-prem solutions to your cloud, and even giving you hybrid options, which is very important. And then, of course, if you're already using something else, you can always adapt and increase your patch scope and breadth that you're doing with Ivanti neurons for patch for MEM, right? So this does an extension of something like Intune with third-party patch publishing, right? Maximizing the return on even something that you're using that's not an Ivanti product. We're here to help you secure and patch your devices regardless if it's our full solution or if it is something like Intune that we're extending with patch for MEM. So Neuron's risk-based patch intelligence is really something that is being spearheaded in our cloud environment first, and that is taking the threat and vulnerability information and the VRR scoring that I talked about earlier, the vulnerability risk rating scoring, which is using real-world threat intelligence and the levels of exploitation of all of these things, and actually bringing it in now into the patching area as well. So you'll see the VRR group and the information for all of these patches. So from the patching side, you're going to have a way to break down that silo and have a communication with the security folks as they come in and they tell you something needs to be fixed because it's really, really important. And you're looking at the CVSS score and it's a 8.5. And then you're looking at the VRR and it's a 10, and it shows that it's associated to ransomware, or it's an RCE, which means it's remote code execution capable type of vulnerability. These things give you those insights to help prioritize, or even just have the insights when the security team are asking you to prioritize. So very important to the strategy and the cohesiveness and breaking down those silos between those two teams, which is one of the big goals that we have to secure the Everywhere Workplace, is to give you tools to help you work with your coworkers, whether you're in security or IT or ops or dev. Ivanti neurons for endpoint security. Again, I covered the items that were in there. We have our risk-based solutions, our ASOC, our RBVM, our vulnerability KB, vulnerability intelligence / threat hunting product, and finally our patching stuff, right? So it gives a foundation for having better cyber hygiene, patching, compliance, and visibility, looking at what your SLAs are. Both of those products lines that I just talked about both have SLAs. So looking at your SLAs, compliance reporting coming to the patch solution in the cloud soon, which is very exciting, and having the ability to see things for in the patch, see things for crowdsourced patch reliability and sentiment. So what we've done inside of the new cloud patch product, the Ivanti neurons for patch management, as part of patch intelligence, is given you not only the VRR, but also we've given you the ability to look at reliability So once we reach a certain threshold of information about the patch being deployed, we'll give you the reliability of that patch, right? We're going to tell you, is it good? Is it fair? Is it bad, right? And this is based off of data off of not only the 40 plus million endpoints that Ivanti manages with our own technologies in our own products, but also endpoints from our technologies in another product. So a lot of that information coming in and giving us those insights so that as you're looking at those things, you get contextual information that's very useful to you. Should I have to worry about this patch? Or, is it having issues? Has it not really been tested that much? Or is it been deployed and it's very high reliability, meaning it's not getting backed out, it's not causing rollbacks, all this type of stuff. And sentiment analysis. So sentiment analysis for the Windows patching area is very, very, very cool, right? It takes a look at Twitter and Reddit and looks at social sentiment analysis, where we are looking at the sentiment that people have when talking about or around these patches. This patch was really, really hard. It gave me a hard time. It took down all my servers. It cost me loss of the weekend, versus this patch was great. It solved the problem, that sort of thing. So a lot of cool information going into patch intelligence. And obviously the risk-based visibility into the enhanced prioritization that I talked about, taking that information from RBVM and ASOC when you're using those products, and also giving that ability as a high level to your patching teams, to your ops or your IT teams that are doing the patching. And obviously an automated patch experience, which is a simple experience to automate patching security vulnerabilities quickly and seamlessly, right? All of this delivered to you in the cloud and helping you to secure the everywhere workplace. Moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about the zero trust security model, right? Abhinav mentioned earlier that the world in COVID turned kind of a 180, right? We went from allowing everybody was at work pretty much every day, not just shift workers, but normal workers. It doesn't matter what industry you were in the work, you were in the office. There was a big, huge push for BYOD, bring your own devices. There were companies that were letting people pick these devices instead of just giving them canned devices. They were allowed to bring their mobile phones to work. They were allowed to bring their tablets to work. They had ways that you could secure them and you could get them on to a portion of the network. All of that happened. And then when COVID made everybody work remotely and started the work everywhere digital workplace revolution, so to speak, the model for zero trust just really went through the roof, right? As Abhinav mentioned, trust nobody and give access only when needed. And this is more important than ever because you don't know where these employees are working from, right? They have the freedom to work from a coffee shop. They have a freedom to work from home. They have a freedom to work from a hotel somewhere. So it's not just a few employees that are doing that. It's everybody now. And so zero trust access is 6 steps. This defines 6 steps towards zero trust access, right? Never assume and always verify. And so this is where we're going with our zero trust access, right? Enrolling the device, authenticating the user, securing the network and data, connecting directly to the app based on authorization, continuously monitoring your device, the data, the networks, and the user's risks and behaviors, and detecting and remediating threats, right? So what's important here, and what is, I think, unique to our product line is you can be using VPN and zero trust, and we will help you with a hybrid solution because we understand that it doesn't, it's not a light switch that you can flip to move to a ZTA solution, right? When you're talking about ZTA combined with Swig and CASB, all of these things, right? You're not going to just take all of your user base, take them off of VPN and put them right onto a zero trust mechanism, right? So we're going to give you the ability to run a hybrid model and be able to manage the hybrid model while you're doing the migration. So very important for what we're doing and how we're tackling the zero trust. So very exciting part. Network security is a very exciting part of securing the everywhere workplace. When we talk about EXM strategy, right, we talk about ITSM moving from just being ITSM to being EXM, so experience management, right? And here we focus on three main things, right? Lines of business, IoT, facilities, procurement, legal. All these lines of businesses are products that we offer that give you narrowed scope of functionality that are really targeted towards some of the things that you needed most, right? DevSecOps, right? Whether your teams are dev and sec and ops, or they're really unified all together, we're talking about securing and looking at the compliance of things, right? These DevSecOps items are what some of the things that we are building into the EXM strategy, and the way that some of our other Ivanti products are integrating and will integrate in the future into the ITSM area, really giving us that EXM. And then of course, Edge, all the way out to the wearables and the mobiles and the Edge and the IoT, that's where the UEM stuff comes in, right? Discover that information and through UEM, get it into your experience management, which is big. Why neurons for EXM? Again, pre and post ticket automation, the ability to have the only offering with the ability to have a native integrated agent-based self-healing that proactively automates and remediates issues that are coming from your users. So very exciting to talk about a lot of that stuff, neurons and bots, a lot of information that you can get, and hopefully you reach out to somebody because it's really, really exciting stuff. I personally have been working on risk-based solutions for a long time, and being excited about EXM and ITSM, something I never thought I'd do, but some of these types of things get me very excited about them, because they are enabling securing the everywhere workplaces, which is what my passion has always been. Enterprise service management, obviously support for use cases from HR, from facilities, from DevSecOps, all these types of things being built in as additional things that an ITSM can have. Again, experience management, not straight up ITSM, right? The SMB and the enterprise customers are getting all sorts of traction in using all of these types of products. Manufacturing, medical, all these types of areas. And obviously it's an overall platform that vendors can use to provide an integrated tech stack across everything that you have, right? And of course, we believe that it's attractive price-wise and delivers really, really, really good value to the customer. So EXM is very exciting and really starting to bring a lot of the stuff that we have at Ivanti all together. And kind of to wrap a lot of this up, the digital experience or DEX score is something that we've been rolling out, and it has been getting really, really good reviews. And it is essentially convergence of ITSM, which I talked about earlier, UEM, which I talked about earlier, and cybersecurity, which is part network security, part patch endpoint security, part risk-based vulnerability management, part ASOC. All that information coming together is giving us what we're calling the digital experience, right? And that digital experience has a score at Ivanti now, and that score can involve things from each of these pillars, and we will continue to build on the things that involves. So you can see here some of these examples, right? Application control, threat protection, what your patching status is. All these things are fed into pieces of the DEX score. Service experience, right? Are you meeting SLAs? How are you answering surveys? What are the sentiments of the tickets that you're putting in, right? What are the interactions that you're having with facilities and HRs and the tickets that you're putting in? All of the devices that you have and that you're using can go towards that experience, right? Are you having hardware problems on your laptop? Is the application that you're using on a daily basis continuing to crash? Is the operating system seeing issues? Is your battery dying after 20 minutes whenever you unplug your laptop? These are the types of things that we're starting to look at, and we're trying to give you a DEX score for each and every one of your employees. And whenever that score lowers below these certain thresholds that you'd like to look at for an LCL, lower control limit, right? That's where you can take action. And not only can you take action, but you can use autonomous bots to take some of that action as well, right? We can automatically order a battery for you and have it delivered to your employee if the battery's life is not meeting expectations, or if there was a recall on a battery for the device that they have. So some really cool stuff that I've given some examples of, and the DEX score is really at the forefront of securing and managing the experience of the everywhere workplace. Again, just to wrap up, the whole point here: aggregate all of this information, take information, collect it, gain all those insights, and use that information in the discover, monitor, secure, and self-heal mantra, really, that Ivanti has been driving towards. And as our new CPO takes the head of the ship, he will continue to drive us in that direction. And I'm very excited to be here talking to you today at MAPS about all of this stuff. The last thing that I was going to cover here is really just what we believe is a really good ROI, right? A return on investment. Some numbers here: 15% of all requests are now automated through self-service. Obviously, this is nowhere near 100, and there's a long ways to go in the upwards direction. And that's really what we're going to be focused on. The more things that we can automate for you, the better the experience of the employees you're servicing, as well as your experience itself, right? 80% increase in automation performance since 2019. And we want to continue that trend. We want to come back to you next year and show you much higher numbers, right? A 10% increase volume of automated tasks year over year. And all of these things will let the employees that you hire do the things that matter more, rather than the things that just need to get done that are very mundane. And sometimes your customer base, your user base, is not really even bringing them to you because it's really something that they haven't, they think it's too much time is going to be wasted. So very excited and happy to have been here. So gracias a todos por escuchar la visión de nuestros productos y esperamos que se unan a nosotros para asegurar el lugar de trabajo en todas partes.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Agradecemos a Mike Hindman y Abhinav Tiwari por su participación en el IT Solutions Day. Ayúdenos a responder esta rápida encuesta.